3, 2, 1. Got a blast! Hello, the internet, and this is the complete history of Jimmy Neutron, Boy Genius, one of Nickelodeon's most iconic characters of all time. So let's get back in time with one of Jimmy's inventions to see where it all began. It all started in the 80s when creator John A. Davis had this idea about a boy with super intelligence who runs away from home with his rocket ship, thanks to his fascination with the sci-fi genre. He initially envisioned it as a live-action film with state-of-the-art special effects, but for him to get the ball rolling with this, he had to get this project funded, and unfortunately, it seemed that no one was interested in this project, and the project was shelved. It wasn't until somewhere in the 90s when John came across this scrapped idea while moving. Around that time, he founded his own company, DNA Productions, and decided to try again on his project. But this time, as a fully CGI film, thanks to the success of films like Toy Story. So Dave, alongside co-founder Keith Alcorn, developed a 40-second demo in 1995 for the SIGGRAPH featuring Johnny Quasar and his robo-dog Goddard flying in space. The demo was shown at Lightwave Films and was quite popular, so much so that it even managed to win 2 Wavy Awards, one for Best Character Animation and one for Best in Show. One who was really impressed by it was Steve Odenkirk, known for Ace Ventura. In an interview, he said that the image perfectly stood out for him because it seemed fun, compared to the mostly photorealistic work being done with computer animation at the time. With Steve down on his side, the two would pitch it to many big-name studios, one of which was Nickelodeon. President at the time, Albie Hitch, fell in love with the concept of this project, viewing his knack for invention as the perfect Nick kid, viewing him as a mix of Albert Einstein and Bart Simpson. In fact, Nick was so impressed they asked him to make a movie of it first, thanks to the unique CGI style compared to other Nick cartoons at the time. But first, they had to make some changes, like a new look for Johnny, and change his name to Jimmy Neutron due to copyright issues with Johnny Quest and Captain Quasar. In 1998, a pilot for what is to come was released called Runaway Rocket Boy. This sees our boy genius running away from home after getting into trouble too many times with his parents, but then gets into trouble with aliens. Elements from this pilot would later be incorporated into the movie, like some scenes and characters. In December 21st, 2001, the Jimmy Neutron Boy Genius movie was released. This sees the alien race known as the Yogians taking all the adults of Retroville after one of Jimmy's inventions contacts the race. And now Jimmy, his friends, and the other kids must journey to space to rescue their families. The film is known for being one, if not the first CGI film to use commercial animation programs as opposed to other CGI anime films that use proprietary software. This gave the CGI a more cartoonish and stylistic look as opposed to films like Shrek and the Pixar films that try to look realistic and impressive. It features many of the characters that would become main staples in the series, like Jimmy himself, Goddard the Robo-Dog, Sheen, Carl, Lindy, Cindy, and the parents, Judy, and the legend himself, Hugh Neutron. The film, while not as well received as other films like Shrek or Monsters, Inc., it did become popular among kids and became a box office hit with $103 million on a $30 million budget. It even became one of the first films to be nominated for Best Animated Feature at the Oscars. In June of 2002, The Adventures of Jimmy Neutron Boy Genius aired on Nick. It follows the further adventures of Jimmy, Carl, and Sheen as they try to survive many of Jimmy's crazy inventions. It was notable as Nick's first ever fully CGI series. The series was well received upon release and did well with ratings. The series would run for 3 seasons until its end on November 25th, 2006. During its run, on top of getting some TV movies like Attack of the Twonkies, crossed over with another Nick series, The Fairly Odd Parents, in the Timmy Jimmy Power Hour specials, with the first in 2004, the second in 2006 called When Nerds Collide, and the final being The Jerkinaires that same year. On the topic of crossovers, Jimmy would also appear in the Nicktoons crossover series alongside Timmy Turner, Danny Phantom, and SpongeBob SquarePants himself. Now, the reason the show ended was debatably because the studio who made the series, DNA Productions, shut down after the flop of 2006 and Bully. What sucks about that there was supposed to be a 4th season, and here it featured again starring middle school. It would feature a more serious tone and an overarching story arc. But when the show was canceled, the season became like a failed invention. During its run, the show won 2 Annie Awards, a Golden Reel World Award, and even winning 2 BMI Awards. 4 years later, the quirky Caine would get his own series in October 2nd, 2010, called Planet Caine. And here, Caine launches himself into space by using his rocket without Jimmy's rocket without permission. He would then launch himself on the planet Xenu, where he meets the planet's emperor, who mistakes him as the ambassador of Earth. The series features tons of new characters like the monkeys Nesmith, Asifa the warrior lady, and the antagonist Dorcas. The series was originally supposed to be a different complete series called Red Acres, which was about an astronaut that crash lands on a planet of dumb aliens. But due to executive meddling, it was changed into a scene-centered series. Sadly, the show was panned by critics, with many people calling the show total garbage. The series would last until February 15, 2013, and eventually concluding the Jimmy Neutron universe as a whole. While Jimmy would appear as a playable character in games like Nicktoons Brawl, Nick hasn't done really that much with the franchise ever since. In 2016, in an interview, creator John A. Davis stated that he has a story for Jimmy Neutron reboot feature that he would like to make, but he is waiting for the right situation to make it. In 2022, Rob Paulson, the voice of Carl, stated, "Well, I've got to tell you, man, I go all over the world when we don't have the coronavirus, and people love Carl. They love Carl. I don't think it would be a bad thing at all to reboot Jimmy Neutron. I think that's one of those shows that a lot of people would love to see again. It was very good, really smart. That wouldn't surprise me." In April of 2024, animator Eric Brown created a fan-animated sample featuring new designs of the Jimmy Neutron cast. The sample actually went viral, though it's unknown if Nick will pick up this reboot and revive the Neutron. In conclusion, while Jimmy may not have had the strongest impact as SpongeBob and Rugrats in terms of success, the series is still highly regarded as one of Nick's most beloved tunes, with many people still quoting the many iconic lines of the show and even becoming memes. And who can forget Hugh Neutron? You go, you duck-loving, pie-loving legend, you. Ooh. Tune in next time as we get out of the lab and head to that creepy little town in California, as this is the perfect time to talk about for a Halloween special. See you later, folks.